wondering if you guys have that and if you have it in front of you or.
No, I can put it in
have
front of
mine
me.
up. Yep.
Hold on.
Let me see.
Hold on.
Yep. Hold on, Jack. I have
Hold
both up. You sent it. Have the.
Yeah, I did send it to, mailed it to everybody.
Yep, I'm gonna pull up Jack. I think I have it. I did a search for Munis. I think it was just from you, so it'd be easier to
Okay, I have it.
response to questions. I was looking over. Yeah, they did seem to fill out a lot.
Yeah, I asked a lot. I mean, it's a big spend. So anyways, if you have it in front of you, the very first question I asked is there a physical server required? And it says we will have an internal server. The reason why I asked that question is because this technology right now, the software is all going to the cloud, period.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the software that's out there, like Oracle, which is their biggest competitor, does not require to have a server. And the having a server also in the future, who's to say that Munis, the Tyler product, is not going to go up to the cloud? I mean, that's where everybody's going now. I know part of it's on the cloud, but not the entire package. And that was the reason why I asked it. So, one of the other questions that I asked, which said, with our current operating software and terminals and all that, which fits into the, we will have an internal server part of it. And they said, yeah. So what they're saying is that if we put the software in, everybody will be compatible. We won't have any additional expenses for upgrading any of the existing equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Jack, I just want to be clear. So the physical server, everything, like you just said, everything is cloud-based. Everything is in the cloud. Even the data, everything. Very rarely does anything sit on on a server or a desktop anymore. You need one you required one to get online. But so why would they even need a physical server? For backup?
For backup, that's one reason. That is one reason.
But even the cloud has more secure backup. See, remember you brought up the whole last week about the cyber attack? Well,
right.
They responded to that too.
So the biggest threat to cyber is internal. So let me just go backwards. And I'm not an IT expert, but I've been in business a long time and I've seen all this happen. So if I was to bring in if I was to bring in something, because I'm the one online, I bring it into my computer. If I have a server physically sitting in the town, it can corrupt that. And that's how they get a hold of the data. If it's in the cloud, it is almost impossible unless they interrupt it on the way in. And trust me, they have so much security you can't even get through it. So they're housing in the cloud at a much secure location. It can't burn down. It can't be hacked, at least by not any internal employees. So I don't understand why you would have anything located locally. And I'm not sure there really is. Even though it says we have an internal server, that's just too vague. I'm not sure we would actually host unless we are doing it, right?
Well, that was why I asked the question, Dean.
No, it's great. It's a great question.
Out. That's why I pointed it out. We get to tomorrow participate in their demonstration and I think they'll take some questions afterwards. And it's a good question.
We'll get our answers tomorrow. We'll get them tomorrow.
We can ask that again tomorrow, and I think that's a good point.
And then the question will be, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, the question will be, even if our job is to determine, is this is financially, where's the financial risk and to the town by purchasing this and the need for it.
Mhm.
The technical background in the needs and the statement of work, that's all done internally, and you'd have to assume that people way more qualified than us made this decision that this is the right software for us. So I'm not questioning that. I like the questions themselves because I like to know the answers just personally, and I think that would ease some people's mind that we're purchasing this. I'm sure we need this. It sounds like we need it. And again, the cost of it is where we need to look for. Like, what is the maintenance? What is
Well,
are there more capital purchases that are required for this? Those are the questions that I would think we need to ask, right?
yeah, I agree with you up to a certain point, which is you want to buy something that works too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I get
So,
it.
so if you
That
have
goes-
if you have an internal server and it has an issue with data security, that's something we got to be concerned about. But I hear you what you're saying.
Yeah.
And we're not really going to know. I'm just looking at, I know this is probably par for the course. And admittedly, I'm not an expert or even wouldn't even
Mhm.
myself well on the IT stuff, but it's going to be 2 to 3 years before even the entire installation is rolled out from what
Correct.
we've been hearing and what they're responding to. So, we're not going to know for probably 2 to 5 years if there's issues. Because there's going to be bugs. I mean, there's
Exactly.
no way it's going to be a smooth rollout. We're moving. Don't we have things offsite? I haven't been on long enough. Don't we have certain things being farmed out of Medford working? We have someone else doing our payroll, from what I understand, which is why this is a plus for the Board of Selectmen, because they're going to be taking over the payroll for the town, if I'm not mistaken. And
Who's taking over the payroll?
won't this company be centralizing all our payroll services as well?
Well, yeah, payroll is a real small cost in general. It's going to house the data necessary to make the ACH payments and the tax payments.
Mhm.
So I'm very familiar with accounting software, obviously. So yeah, so that this is an all-in-one, all-in-one enterprise software or license. So it's going to include everything the town does, all financial transactions, everything. So yes, it would calculate the payroll. It's going to hold our general ledger. So the payroll is one of those items.
Yeah.
That I'm assuming, right? So yeah, yeah, it's a lot of money, and the risk, and again, sorry that I'm talking too much, but it's
No,
the
not at all.
capital.
Thank you.
It's not the 1.115 million. It's the unknown capital purchases that we really have to be asking. Like, for instance, what if it doesn't work? What's the cost of that? Right? Do we have a backup plan to this? Because a lot of times people invest all this money, and not all the time, but sometimes they throw it out at the end because they're like, wow, it's way too costly to train everyone. And they throw it out.
In the assurance.
Right?
Yeah. What are the assurance?
I'm pretty sure that, what they're asking for is going to work for them and be effective for them. However, there are other alternatives. And, for instance, I forget the name of the system. Believe it or not, it's for free. And it does the same exact thing as this. It begins with an O. And then you can go on and add things to it. And it just so happened about a month ago, I had one of the software engineers from that company in my car, and I started talking about Munis. And it just was a coincidence. And he goes, "We have a free one. It says the same exact thing." I said, "Okay." And I did, I went online, I Googled it at the time and said, "How can it be free and be the same?" But that's what they stated. And then there's probably licenses, things later. But anyways, one of the things I think you hit the nail on the head, Dean, is that what is the total cost of this package? Right now, you're looking at the first thing we're requesting 1.15 million. And what is that for? What modules? And that says it's the purchase of the license, and the cost will be 930,000. This will include consulting fees. So you got 1.15 million right there.
Yep.
Okay. And then the second question, how long, what type of initial installation, what type of support receive? The initial installation will take 2 to 3 years. So
Correct.
if you go down to 2 to 3 years and you go down a couple of questions down where it says, what are the annual costs of licenses? The annual maintenance cost is 216,000.
I believe that's that start. Okay, again,
It's not started. It says 216.
Yeah, I get
started.
that. So, what year does that the maintenance? So maintenance is never in the first year for that for sure.
So it's times 2. If
Yeah,
it's not times
but
3.
it could be, but I don't know when they define first year could be the year it's fully installed. But that's a question. Is
Right.
the first year the year installed, or is it to start from the day you purchase the license?
Right.
Usually maintenance doesn't start until it's fully implemented and installed, only because what maintenance are you going to need?
Yeah.
You're installing it. It's like, if you order a car and it takes 6 months to come in, you don't start paying on it until it's in. And so therefore, until you start driving it. So it's the same thing with this. I think once you start using this is when the maintenance starts.
And they'll have almost
So,
a million by then.
so, you go 216,000. We don't know what the duration of that is. We do know that the duration of it is once it's up from 3 years from now, then we could say that it's $216,000 just for that alone as an addition to the operating budget for the town. That's for sure. So 10 years and that's, 2.1 million. That's one thing. And then the next question, which is down right below that, is applications that are not a one-time fee hold a recurring fee of $42,131. A recurring fee of $42,000. Well, how many are there? If there's 10, that's 420,000. If there's 5, it's 210,000 roughly off the top of my head. So that's something that we need to know too, because
it looks like he's adding them together. At least I hope so. But again, we don't know that. It's we don't know it. We don't know the answer. So,
right. Right. So then the next, we'll go back up from one. Just because I went drop down. What modules are we purchasing with the second installation, which is 1.35 million in 2023, which is going to be bonded. Probably 20-year bond, maybe a 10, but God only knows. So the second cost we bond, the covering the costs and consulting costs, as well as additional funds for training on the product. So we're also paying for the training. I would have thought that if I was buying something that you would get the training for free when you're spending that kind of millions of dollars. That's another thing that I kind of bugs me.
It's usually training is usually it's additional, and the reason for that is because they can't ever guarantee. So if you got it for free included, you get a different quality of training. Does that make sense? Like they have a boilerplate training, they'll come in and they'll explain it to you. And if you didn't get it, Jack, you'll never get it. So if you didn't get it in that 2-hour training they allowed, you'll never get it. It means you'll never use it correctly or use it. But if you pay for it, you're going to put more into it. You're going to make sure you understand it, even if it costs more, because the success here is using it, not so much the cost to train. Now, training is usually just a bare bone cost. It usually isn't a markup. Their money is made off the licensing, and then the cost of the people is usually just a pass through. I pay Jack $50 an hour kind of thing. So that's kind of how they do it. Because I mean, I've been fortunate to go to a lot of software implementations in the companies I've worked for, because again, as a financial guy, they include us on all of this for that reason. It is a very, software. Once the IT people or the programmers or the technology team chooses the product, we don't choose the product. Like I was saying earlier, we don't choose what's right and wrong for the town. That's above our pay grade unless you have that experience. But what we need to determine is the risk here, like the risk of the unknowns. If it's in black and white, we know the risk ahead of time. And so again, I just saw that we are, it just said it right below. We got our answer to the first question. It's hosted internally. So that means there's and again, that was their choice. There must have been a reason for it. And they said because of cost, because of licensing fees. You don't have to renew it every year. Again, I'm sure they went through that part of it. You don't want to renew it at $930,000 a year, right? So that's why they don't do it that way, right? So
yeah.
I don't know. That doesn't make a lot of sense to have to have an internal server to save on licensing fees.
Right. So what they do on licensing fees, they say you have 50 users for this amount, you have 100 users for this amount, you have 1,000 users for this amount, and then if you host it internally, you buy it, and you can have 1,000 users at no additional cost. So there's a break even where if you're going to go above a threshold, you just buy the license, and again, the maintenance and everything else so the software is always, I read the whole thing already. So the response is correct. They're going to keep that software as up to date and as it can for all their clients. Because if they didn't, you would stop using it. And so they have to keep upgrading. So once you buy that license fee, that's a one-time license fee, right? And then the maintenance is where you spend yearly, which
And
is
all the
$200.
upgrades, right?
Yeah.
The
And then training. So let's just say I hired a new CFO or a new Patrick, 2 years from now, that person would have to be trained. So therefore, that's why training has to be done again. You know what I mean? So those are the ongoing risks. Said is does it require more capital because it's being hosted internally and it's going to run our whole town? Are we adding to our IT department? Yes or no? If we are, and again, that's just something we need to consider as far as cost. Now, if they are adding to the IT team, well, good for them, because they determined that, hey, we don't want one guy, single point of failure. We want 2, 3, 4 guys making sure this thing stays running. So, and again,
like yourself, Dean, I've been through a lot of these upgrades myself, from my days with Stop and Shop to the days I own my own companies. And the one thing here, I'm kind of, I read it, but maybe I missed it somewhere. How often are the upgrades? They say that the maintenance cost. What is do you see anywhere it says cost for the upgrades?
So no, there's no cost. The way I read it, there's no cost. It's like an iPhone. You buy an iPhone.
Okay.
The only time you buy an iPhone and they have the updates every 1.2, 2.1, that's always free, because again, they're making it better for the customer all the time. And that's it. But you buy it once. But if you bought a new iPhone, you pay for it. So if they came out with a much better and different model, and they would say, okay, you can either sunset that and buy this new one for another $1 million, or you can stay on this platform. And that's where the only time that this would have to be relicensed, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Is that only an issue because we have the internal server? If not, if it was all going through the cloud and it was all this.
See,
Yeah,
the only,
See what
I don't
what-
even know the time period, Bonnie,
Mhm.
but I'm sure our software is older than dirt right now, right? And we probably had it for 20, 20, whatever, probably 30 years. Who knows how long we've had the software for?
Yeah.
But the new technology, new software, like anything that people build these days, doesn't last as long.
No.
It just doesn't. Because it's always growing. And so this is probably a much needed exercise. I almost ensure that we need this.
No,
Yeah.
But
no doubt,
we
no doubt
need
that
to,
we need it. No doubt that we need it.
I just think,
No,
I just think this is
I need
gonna
a
be.
trip to Italy too, but I can't afford it right now. So that's what you got to
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
you know. But
Yeah.
all right. So then I went down and I asked about the security breach, and they did confirm that they had it, and it did not impact any of their internal network, meaning that it didn't affect any of their clients. I did read somewhere else that I thought there was a couple of customers that did get breached, but I'll go on there what they say right now, that they had a ransomware attack. Doesn't mean that they didn't have to pay to get their thing back, but they did have it and they admitted it, which is good. That's what I wanted to see, was the honesty and the as far as admittance of that happened, more than anything else, other than the fact that if it did breach customers, that's an issue. But they said it did not.
Yeah.
They gave a real, almost a page answer on what is the advantage over competitors such as Oracle's PeopleSoft, and I'll leave that to your reading because there's just so much there. Okay.
I read halfway through it. And
Yeah, I read it all once. But it's like it really.
What they're saying is that if what they're saying, their
This is what
advantage
they
is if
do.
you, the way I love analogies, so excuse me, but what they're saying here is I need a heart operation. And Oracle is the kind of person that says, yeah, we have a team of doctors, and they do a lot of different things. They do hearts, they do whatever they do. And what they're saying is we only do hearts. So
Yeah.
you need
Right.
that's all we do.
They solely do public sector.
Their sector is
100%.
really public. So then they know how to walk the walk and talk the talk.
Right. And I'm sure with all the clients, if they had 200 Massachusetts cities and towns using them, that they've had every kind of situation hit them.
Right. People much smarter than us have determined this is the right software. Now, the real question I'd be asking, not us, if I was the town, I'm sure they already did it, would be calling these towns and calling the people who use it, not the people who made the decision, because they're like, oh, it's great, because they don't want to be embarrassed. But you call the people that are using it and say, hey, how do you like it?
Yeah.
But that's not our job. But and then again, you can ask the town managers how far over budget did you go? Oh, was it under budget, over budget, timeline?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be nice to know. Just like, I mean, we asked all these same questions when they were building the high school, much bigger purchase, but
Exactly.
Exactly.
All right, and continuing on, I asked some questions. It's just basically all readable stuff that you can draw your opinion on, unless you have otherwise any questions on it or any points on it. I don't, so
Okay.
it's up to you guys.
Okay.
No. All right. Well, I think that it was good that we went over that, Dean, and I appreciate your input and all. And Bonnie, it makes a lot of sense that we should ask just a couple of questions at least tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So what is tomorrow's? I'm sorry.
6 p.m.
I know, but I probably should know, but tomorrow is what though? What is from 6 to 8?
I believe it's the public. It's a public meeting. So
who's presenting?
open.
Who's presenting?
Huh?
Who's presenting? Tyler?
Tyler's presenting, yes.
Mhm.
They're giving us a demo and showing us all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
to the town.
yeah. Yeah.
So no,
exactly.
and then it's open to the public.
Patrick and Michael will definitely.
I think
So
it's a
there's no
sales pitch
financial.
to the
So
town.
we're just there, we're watching it to gain knowledge
Mhm.
of what this.
Yeah,
stuff
then
does.
there's gonna be a questionnaire, but it's open to the public.
Yeah, and then after the meeting, we're gonna discuss it as a capital budget.
And vote. And
And
vote.
vote.
Billy
And-
and Billy and Billy will be there tomorrow. He said he
And
would.
Patrick and Mike will be there as well.
They were invited, yeah.
Okay, I just curious. I just didn't know if it was just us again, that's all. Okay.
They were invited tonight too, so.
Yep.
There was no reason why not to invite them.
No, I didn't know. Again, so. Okay,
right.
so hey, Jack,
Mhm.
I'm gonna call you right after because maybe we should get together for this meeting tomorrow. No? Yes? Me, you, and Bonnie?
I don't know if the town would like that. I think we should keep
Wait a
it.
minute. What? No, I'm saying the public portion of it.
For the munis part.
Yeah, then we're not
Okay,
gonna.
maybe not. Maybe
Yeah.
not. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd love to. But I think because we have a board meeting right afterwards, we're all gonna have to run home and do it or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is a
We're gonna-
Zoom meeting.
we'll
6 to
have
8, right?
We'll have a non-meeting that we can all get together afterwards, but it'll be non-meeting.
Right. So let me ask you, the meeting's a Zoom meeting tomorrow, right?
Correct.
And so is the demonstration.
Right. Our meeting is at 8:30.
Okay.
I put it there because I wasn't too sure how long it was going to last on the other end,
Mhm.
just in
Okay.
case. All right. So the next point of discussion that I had is I'm going to jump down to review and discuss enterprise accounts.
Okay. Number 4.
And the reason why I do that is because I asked to discuss this is we've been spending a tremendous amount of money out of the enterprise accounts.
Mhm.
And through the years, I have pointed it out several times that our rates go up on our water and storage because we're trying to bring in the income to cover all the expenses that are being, coming out of those accounts, if you think about it. And
Right.
about 4 or 5 years ago, we said at the time, maybe it was even longer than that it would be 10% debt ratio for those accounts would be acceptable, anything underneath it. And now those accounts are, from what I heard last, at 30% and higher, which is ridiculous. And I think that we need to really start looking about how we're spending those accounts on recommendations coming out of there, because it's almost like it needs to be brought down, because if we keep on the pace that we're going, we're going to have more water and storage increases.
Mhm.
Right.
And that's what I really care about the most, And I think that we need to get a defined percentage of what those debt ratios are now. And I like to ask for that in the next couple of meetings not tomorrow, but in a future meeting, so that we can start looking at that. The other side of the coin too is on the enterprise funds, is that there are other opportunities of having enterprise funds. And I like to know how, and maybe have Bob Galvin involved, is how do you create an enterprise fund for the town? And the reason why I say that is because we've got like the ambulance, for instance, I think it goes into the general fund, and we're always buying ambulances and so on and so forth. And we're buying, it should be a fire department type
Mhm.
enterprise fund. That's what, and if I could be wrong, but it's something to talk about and discuss. And there may be other areas where you could have an enterprise fund, and that's what I don't know about. But to continue on the water and the sewer, and we're just going to everybody's going to end up paying and increase. We had 3 increases in a row. So not last year, but a few years ago, three in a row.
Yeah.
And we at one point we were at 9 point something percent. That would have been 5 years ago. And if we jumped already to 30%, that tells you what we're doing. We're spending an awful lot of money out of there. And by law, there's a state law somewhere, and I like to find out what it is, what the exact number is that you have to leave X amount of money for emergencies in those accounts. So in other words, if a water main broke, and it was a serious, problem, that the money would be in there in order to cover it without going out and going out to bond it or raise the money through other means. So that's why I brought that up. And I don't know how you guys feel about it, but Dean, you've been here long enough, so.
Right. No, if you're using your internal budget to buy these things, that means that your reserves are going to be less. There's no doubt about it. So it's the key is to have reserves. I think Patrick obviously has done a pretty good job at that, but they don't manage individual enterprise accounts, right?
Do they manage it? Yes, they manage it.
No, each area does, not Patrick, right?
I don't know who's the overall responsible person for it, but I do know that the town draws a percentage now. This is a new thing that happened a couple of years ago. They draw a percentage out of those accounts, and it goes back to the town's general fund, I guess, because they're covering certain costs on that too, which was never done before. It came. It was an agreement with the DPW. I know the inner workings of it all, but I'm not, exactly positive what the whole thing is. But all I can say is that there might be more than one person that is overlooking who's responsible for it. Dave, you're online now. You look like you're itchy.
I wanted to interject in the fact that we have always paid what is known as indirect costs. They have varied from my time involved with town government from about $750,000 among the 3 enterprise divisions to now typically somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.5 million. A portion of that paid by water, wastewater, and solid waste. But there has, from the inception of the enterprise, which was brought in 1991, the indirect charges have always been there. And they're basically for services that are provided from the general fund side of the house. The accounting, the treasurer collector's work, and to some extent from the town administrator as well as the IT department. They're the principal contributors to that sort of thing. That has always existed. It's nothing new.
So on the enterprise accounts, the town does all the accounting for it?
Correct.
With the new Munis system, will the water department be able to handle their own?
No, that we will still be funneling that through the accounting department as we do now with the old SoftWrite system.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any other questions?
No.
Nope. All right, cool. We've got one that I missed, which is on purpose, review and discuss improvements for meetings. Well, first thing I would say is get off the Zoom, and our meetings will be a lot better because it's hard to
Get together.
Right.
I agree.
hard to interact. I would say that maybe the fall town special meeting, which occurs in October, hopefully we'll be out of Zoom by before then, but we'll see what happens. I just wanted to throw it out there. When I was just a participant as a member of the board, we would go from anywhere till 10 o'clock at night most meetings are 9:30, and then we'd go out, and go socially gather afterwards.
Mhm.
But subsequently, I try to shorten it, and we're usually out of here in an hour and a half. But I do a lot of the talking because we're on Zoom, and it's hard to control. So I just wanted to know what you see for improvements for these meetings.
Well, when I think, you remember all the paperwork that you say we don't have, we do have.
Oh, yeah.
I would say that should be being presented. They should share their screen, and when you're talking about something, then we should share the screen and show everybody what you're looking at. Would that
That's
not be
great. That's a great idea.
Good idea, especially Jack, you were shuffling papers and, and I'm trying to find things on my screen.
Oh, it's crazy.
Screen, so it
When we were
wouldn't.
in person, it was easy. Everyone knew exactly
Yeah.
what page we were on.
Mhm.
Yeah, they do, Patrick does a great job. And then I got, we all received different pieces and different pages at different times.
Mhm.
So I think in the future, one of the things I will ask Patrick is, let's do, if you can, one and done. Just send us one book with everything in it, and no supplements later. If there's emergency supplement, yeah. But
Like daily.
I mean, I had, like I said, we all seen it. I was going crazy trying to keep up with which ones were which and this and that. And I'm dealing on a little small space here. Which I used to have an office in the house, and then my daughter wanted a bedroom here because she came back, and actually she's coming back from Denver to live with me for a little while. So now I'm sitting in a chair on a what do you call it, with my bookcase behind me, and the size of the width of my laptop is the little table I have, which is made out of bamboo. So it looks great from behind me. I got my Irish hat up there. I don't know if you could see it. I got my Irish hat. All right. Good. But yeah, I agree with you on that one. Yeah, I like the fact that share the screen.
Also, to their credit, they said that we heard it in the few meetings I've been to lately. Oh, we sent you that email, remember? And we sent another updated email to correct one line item. Perhaps right before the meeting, knowing if they're going to be presenting to us, there's one email that goes out the day of with all the updates, or the day before. Filed in one email. So we just look up the most recent email from Patrick or Mike, and all the information is in that one email from them to us.
Right.
Yeah. What we really should have is electronic books. We should have these things electronically, and they're uneditable, and they're saved. And so every time Patrick updates the book and updates page 6 or spreadsheet 2, all it does is upgrade, and he just emails us the new update, and we just have it. And that's it. I mean, I'm sure he has all this on his computer, and all he's going to do is build a PDF of it all and go that route.
That's a great. I like that idea. I like that.
And then even in the future, I mean, even for meeting in person, he just shows it on the screen. He shows it on the screen. Yeah,
that would be great. I know, because when I try to print out some of the things that we get, they're on, 11 by 17 paper. I have to shrink it down, and it's about the size of an ant to try to read it, But I hear you. And if you look, I think up on the top of my bookcase, all that stuff up there, for the most part, is all town stuff, because I don't know what to do with it. Like throw it up on top of the bookcase.
Well, Eunice, hopefully Eunice's reporting is very, very good.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, it should. Right. It should have document storage, right?
They should. I hear you, though. Those are great suggestions, Bonnie, yours and Dean's. They were great suggestions. And other than that, we got a next meeting, which is tomorrow at 8:30, and we've got the 6 o'clock with Tyler Industries, if that's they call themselves, and Eunice. And just take a motion to adjourn from somebody.
I'll motion to
I second
adjourn.
it. I second it.
Okay.
All right, we're all done. I third.
You third.
Okay.
Passes,
Yeah.
passes anonymously. Yeah, you can tell them, Ty. I third. Okay. All right. Well, good night. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Till tomorrow,
Okay.
everybody.
All
Thanks.
right. Bye-bye.